Yes, Treasury Secretary sat down with Dr. Carlson to talk about what is going on. And I see people on both sides going off on each other. Ben Shapiro is not happy about these issues of tariffs. Trump slammed nearly the whole war with tariffs and causing everybody to wake up. I don't know if you've seen it. Before we go into this clip of Dr. Carson, first take a look at this.
Yesterday, President Trump declared that it was, in fact, Liberation Day, his giant tariff policy that he just dropped on the market unilaterally, probably unconstitutionally. Trump's reciprocal tariffs impose hundreds of billions of dollars in new taxes on Americans, be the largest tax increase since the Revenue Act of 1968. One of the biggest tax increases on American consumers in the history of America. And it's going to cost American consumers. It will cost American producers who use inputs from other countries. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted immediately more than 1,000 points. The S&P 500 plummeted more than 3%. The NASDAQ plummeted almost 4.5%. There are real-world implications for this sort of stuff. Trade wars are, in fact, not good and not easy to win, particularly if you don't actually have a plan. It is predicated on a bad idea of how international trade works. A fundamental misunderstanding of trade deficits. Trade deficits they're an accounting procedure. Trade deficits have pretty much nothing to do with the health of an economy. I can name you a period in American history where there was a fairly large surplus in America's balance of trade. The entire Great Depression.
Yes, what people don't realize is that this idea of bringing tariffs is something Trump had in him for a very long time. Some says, "Oh, Trump doesn't know what exactly he's doing. He doesn't know anything about the economy, things like that." I have seen all reactions on social media going back to Oprah. When you take a look at the Donald Trump on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 1988, he was right about everything. I think I'm going to replay that video. I know you might have seen it, but it is important. We look into it again. Ben Shapiro, on the other hand, is telling people that what Trump is doing is wrong. It will cause a lot of problems. Like, I don't know. I want to know your opinion on what is going on the comment section. Take a look at this.
You're criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not. But I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah.
Yes, if you understand exactly what is going on, you will realize that Trump is fighting against every country that has been abusing the American people for decade and decade. That is the truth. There is something that has been going on. When I look into all the lists, the countries, even my own country is on that list. He slammed it, I think about 14, like that, or 11%. Yeah, something like that. When I look into the whole situation, like, I didn't even know this was happening until now. Countries to wake up and negotiate. It is not good at a certain point. People might look at this like, oh, the stock market is crashing, this is happening. But I believe, like he said on one interview today, when a reporter asked him, it's like you operated a patient and you don't expect that patient to just get well the next day. There is time for healing. That is what Trump said. So when I look into that logic, into what is going on, 2 days, the mainstream media is bubbling. It is like they can go crazy. When I look into like Joy Renew's show, he's singing this like a song. Oh, thinking Trump voters are now regretting why they voted for him. I had to laugh because many people said this is what they voted for. From all the comment sections I've read through, that should signal something to you. Trump said this, and we are witnessing it. A lot of people have lost money. Like I've seen people crying here and there, but I believe things might bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, elections are ultimately about choices. They aren't, you don't have them in a vacuum. And I would just argue back to Kamala Harris that, I told you so. I agree. I told you so. Donald Trump was going to close the southern border. I told you so. He was going to bring order to immigration. I told you so. He was going to drag this country out of the left-wing cultural ditch and put us back towards more mainstream, middle of the road.
You think he's done the last thing?
I did tell you so. Now, he's also executing, as you all have acknowledged, his economic agenda, just as he said he was going to do. He's enacting tariffs, and he's asking the Congress to make the tax cuts permanent, and he's unleashing American energy. So I agree. It is I told you so, and about half the country is okay with it, and about half the country voted for it. So it strikes me that this is a healthy level of copium going on right now among Democrats who are telling themselves stories that the people who voted for this are not happy with it. The vast majority, if not everyone who voted for Donald Trump, is some level of happiness ranging from 9 to 10. One of the arguments the president is making is that it does actually make some sense to try to make some things in the United States that we outsourced long ago. And I don't know what you have against the Keebler Elves of Battle Creek, Michigan, but I'll take them over your Tim Tams any day. They're Americans. Were you trying to put them out of? Were you trying to put them out of business over there, Richard? I don't understand.
I'll pay good money to charity to see you eat the chocolate.
What's sad about
I'm sure it's delicious.
With me at CNBC.
Yep.
And what I was hoping was that a coordinated thing where if you are charging us 20%, we charge you 20, instead of a car where we're only making you pay 2.5.
Yes, thank you guys for always been there sharing out my videos. I believe you've seen what Scott said here. Very clean and simple. If you are there thinking that the MAGA supporters are insane or they are getting mad at what Trump is doing, you must be crazy. That is what he said. I want to appreciate people that are always there, constantly sharing out my videos. The channel has a problem. YouTube don't pick up videos to recommend, so I beg on you to always share out the clips. And if you see any video after this, that is just for the YouTube algorithm. You can end here. God bless you.
All right, so this could be your future. You, as somebody who is not necessarily in the Donald Trump fan club, I don't see you in the red hat.
To me, was Bill's obviously a very big liberal, been very hard on the president, but blew my mind. It was right. I was very very proud.
About emergency
administration isn't exactly getting the heroes
Democrats who had hoped against hope.
Brad Schimmel, that has included Elon Musk pouring tens of millions of dollars.
I think you saw a repudiation of the fact that.
I do think the Republican takeaways tonight
said about him. And talks a lot about that. Although some people have.
The whole dinner, the tour around the White House, it was. Barr's a big, supporter of Trump's stance on the border.
Just a little bit on the 5. That's kind of how politics should be.